You heard me anyway, but now you can hear me clearly. Anyway, we're all here to participate in remembering what deep inside we all already know. We all already know what we're going to hear today. All we have to do is put it to work in our lives, bring it forward into our expression. So you're going to really love this talk coming your way.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. Welcome everyone who's here in house and everyone who's joining us online. We love spending time together every Sunday. I've got a few announcements of upcoming events here at Unity of Boulder. As usual, we have a Dynamic Laws of Prosperity book group starting on September 29th, which will be led by Zoylita Grant, who is an absolute prosperity wizard and teacher and has been for many years. It's going to be a 5-week book group that meets from 6:30 in the evening to 8 p.m. right here at Unity of Boulder. It'll be $105 for the whole class. $12 for the book, which we do have in store, and you can sign up for that class here after the service. You can call us. You can do it online on our website. Definitely check that out. Zoylita Grant knows what she's talking about when it comes to prosperity. Our open source group is now once again meeting following our Sunday services. That's our group of 18 to 25-year-olds. They meet at 12:30 in the bookstore following today's service. You don't have to sign up for it. If you're in that age, all you have to do is show up, meet everyone. Today they are going to be building a sacred altar and putting stuff up there from their past to kind of get rid of bad things with bad energy that you don't need anymore. They're also going to be doing a burning bowl outside where they're going to be writing down things that that lately just have not been going right, that everyone just wants to get rid of and say goodbye to, and they'll be doing that outside. So that is our open source group for the 18 to 25-year-olds today at 12:30. And this month, on Monday, the 22nd, Norma is going to be leading her annual fall equinox celebration, and that'll be right here in Fellowship Hall. We'll be doing drumming and chanting and welcoming in the fall and the lovely weather that comes with it. If you have a hand drum to bring, please bring it, but if not, we will have some more drums for you, and you don't have to sign up or anything for that. You can just come on in, and we just take an offering at the end, so definitely check that out. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity. So this is the point in our service where we're just going to come in the presence of this room and leave the world outside these doors. It's a time to send prayers out to each other, to friends, to family members, people that are facing some sort of issue in their life, mind, body, or spirit. And we know when we make an intention for healing and wholeness for someone that we are actually sending healing energy their way. And so that's what we're doing here in this moment. But there's pieces of paper in the pew in front of you, and you can write their name down, just their first name. You don't have to say what it's about. We know that the universe always knows what we all need before we even ask. It's really the practice of us aligning with this greater love, with this protector and this director. So this is Steve's sheet, so come down the aisle and collect those names and put them in our prayer box, and they'll be prayed over for 30 days in the Unity of Boulder, and then they'll be sent to Silent Unity for another 30 days. But we like to sing this song to come in the presence of this room, and they say to sing is to pray twice, so join us. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. So grateful for you. So it is. We'll invite our entertainment club up now to sing our opening song, and we ask you to join us and sing along. We have a smaller group today, but all the perfection is here. Do you want to stand where you can be heard on the microphone? And you all know this. Actually, let's stand up and get a little energy. It's an easy song to sing. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in.
And now we'd like to welcome to our stage today's special musical guest. This here is Teresa Storch. You might recognize her. She has played on our stage quite a few times in the past. It's been a few years. But welcome back, Teresa Storch.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. So nice to see Jack and Norma and Santisha again. I'm involved with the Unity and Spiritual Center in Longmont a lot, so I've been busy up there, but I'm happy to come back and come down to Boulder sometimes, so good to see you all. Would sadness go away if I dispelled my greed and gave it all to someone else in need? Could hatred disappear if I planted the seed and gave my love to those who made me bleed? And I'm so tired of this pain, and no one understands my need for change. And if I walked the pilgrim's path, could I become a saint and give myself completely to restraint? Could I see all my faults as a chance for love? Could it make me wise, make me humble enough? But I'm so tired of this pain, and no one understands my need for change. If I loved the world enough, could I see the face of God? Could I see the face of God? Could I see the face of God.
Thank you, Teresa. Beautiful way to start. Thank you. So today, my talk title is You Are a Mystic, Even If You Don't Know It, which I think you all do know you are, but you might not feel it at times, right? I had one of those weeks this week when I was preparing this talk, and I was closing up a 10-week class that I'm taking with Unity Village and on leadership, and it had so many papers and videos that I had to make of talks, and it was just one of those weeks where it was like it just all collided, and it was like, I can't do all this, you know. And I thought, and then I have to write a sermon, you know, and so it made me start to go within, as we always do when we're feeling that, you know, kind of there's more to do than what the human part of us can do, but then we remember that we can only do what God can do through us, right? And we're so much more expanded when we can open up to the magic that we can be when we align ourselves with the depth of what Spirit can do through us. But that intellect can sure tell us that we can be stuck, or we're limited, or we have blocks. You know, there's a call from within. Our so-called journey on the earth is only to awaken from the sleep of a personal self and to awaken to the realization of God as our reality. God as our reality, God as the rock underneath us, God as that influence, that energy, that is us in the highest consciousness, from that highest expression, when we take that time for silence. When we take that time to be within the mystery. When we are facing a challenge, and we know in Unity when we're facing a challenge, it's a divine opportunity to deepen one's understanding and connection with this God source, this Mother Earth, this love, right? And it always brings me back when I think about being a mystic, you know, that we have all these divine seers that preceded us that had these abilities, and they all said that we had the same abilities as they did. But they had a practice, and they had a way of connecting on a divine level with that energy. And again, it's through visualization, it's through affirmation, it's through becoming that which we want to receive from this experience, right? When we are the vibration that's meeting the wants, right? But I think of this Bible quote every time when I think about feeling separate from God. In Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10, it's about the calling of Jeremiah. The word of the Lord came to me saying, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Unless sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young." But the Lord said to me, "Do not say, I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord." So he's being divinely called, and he's told that he is known before he even entered this human condition. That there was a special something that saw this individual as a prophet, right? And then we have to look at what is a prophet, right? We have to take this story into our hands and realize this isn't about Jeremiah's calling. It's about all of our calling to the fact that we were known before we were brought here. We are perfect, special children of God, that were innately given something unique to each and every one of us that has a piece that has to be shared. That's the point of going out and telling everybody what I have told you. But what he's saying is just become in the alignment that you are the source of God, and you share from this vessel a nourishment and something that's needed for this world, for your relationships, for your children, for your work, for your calling, right? So we start with this part of it, and it says this: before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Can you feel that in your being when you think about a time in your life right now where you're feeling like you don't really know what to do? When we're questioning this divine potential and this connection, that there's something bigger that brought us here, that called us here to experience, to be and do, right? Such a powerful thing. So if that verse isn't just about Jeremiah, what if it is about you? What if you came into this life already infused with divine purpose, already holding a spark of the infinite? And then it goes on. I have the wrong one there. Oh, I didn't type this one in. And the next one in Jeremiah 1:5, I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Prophets often call people back to alignment with spiritual law. Metaphysically, this is the awakening of conscience and clarity, the voice inside that won't let us stay asleep to our highest good. So metaphysically, when we talk about the prophet, we are pointing to the part of our own consciousness that is receptive to the divine ideas and willing to declare them, sometimes even when it feels scary. And so we go on in this passage where he says, but I am too young. I don't know how to speak. And what is that saying right there? Does that sound familiar? We are too young, we don't know how to speak, or we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to answer that call. We think that we're limited, and we speak to the limitation within oneself. How many times have we heard that small voice inside nudging us, pulling us forward, and immediately answered, not me, I'm not ready, I'm not enough. We take ourselves out, we're like, no, I'm not quite ready to step into the strength that it's going to take for me to really step into the calling of what God is asking for us to be and do in this world. And I know that many of us are feeling that right now, because I think that we're in a time that no people that preceded us have ever experienced on earth as we are right now. And seeing the duality and the darkness and the light and the polarities of all of it that we're witnessing, experiencing. We're dealing with an economy that's not great. We're dealing with a time where people can't buy houses. There's so many things that are kind of these blocks. It's like a no, 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 no. And yet we get caught up in the things of the world, and we think that our good is behind us, or it's in a further day than today, because there's so many things in this world that are not in order, even though underneath everything's in divine order. And the duality and the hardship of life is our teacher. And so it's asking one's development to be on fast course right now, on a much deeper practice. We have to be taking the time in silence. We have got to be taking the time to walk in nature, to remember this divine connection with Source. And so the consciousness is growing within each and every one of us if we will allow it. And instead of getting bought into the world and the things that are off in the world, remembering the power that lives within us. Let's be with that, living in the power, within the power that lives within us. And then he said, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. And Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, says the highest and best in us is continually calling us into higher expressions of ourselves. And so there's a divine calling right now where the spiritual food has to be first, where we wake up and we don't run to the coffee or to the food or to the thing that starts to numb us right out the gate. Like, how can we immediately get a little high, a little something to get this whole vessel charged, instead of being with the one divine charge that comes from the deepest clarity of what is needed, wanted, and necessary in any situation that you're facing. You know, when I teach classes, people usually write a contract with themselves, with God, that they're committing themselves to meditating at least 20 minutes a day. And longer, if you can find the time. And I know the pressures of the world right now, that might not be the case. But to take that time in silence and without music, even just really being with silence and opening up that third eye and breathing and connecting and letting the divine show you the way that you are being divinely connected and directed. You will notice your day go smoother the very first time you do it. Even if you leave that meditation and go, I don't really feel like I went anywhere. People think it's going to be sparkles and lights and, sometimes it's not some otherworldly experience. Sometimes it's just the remembrance that I took the time to make spirit first in my life. And you'll feel the obstacles dissipate and crumble around you. And you will walk in with that divine presence, and that energy will precede you into every situation where the energies that are met with you will be more peaceful, more loving, and more divinely connected, right? So it's not a call that is about waiting until you're perfect. It's about saying yes right where you are. When talking about Jeremiah's call, what's the excuse you often give to the universe or to yourself for why you are not ready? Let's take a little inventory inside right here. When you're being called to step into uncharted territories, and you think, I'm going to live small on this one because I don't really have more to give. It's kind of the week I had. I have to write a sermon, is what it was. And I kept thinking, I'm going to call Jack and say, I don't have another sermon. I've done 7 in a row, and I usually have a 5-sermon rule, and I give myself a break. But I was going to be with it. If I'm a mystic, and if I'm divinely guided and have potential within this, I can find it. And I can tell you, when I sat down to write the sermon, nothing was coming. And I went for walks, and I did what I needed to do. And I got like a little bit. And then the next day I had a conversation, and a little bit more. And I was living in the flow of Spirit's timing instead of Santicia's timing. And Santicia's timing makes her really filled with anxiety a lot. She pressures herself. She's harder on her than anybody else. And I needed to get Santicia out of the way and bring the divine into the very presence of what was being needed and called in that moment. Who can relate with being the biggest pressure maker on yourself? Most often it's not the people outside. We might have jobs and things like that do that, but we tend to be the ones that are harder on ourselves. And we're putting these obstacles in our way. So if the universe is always here for you, and the universe says, I am with you, what fear would that calm for you? So I was speaking with a friend yesterday on the phone, and he has been unemployed for some time. I was checking on him, asking how everything was going, and he told me he hadn't found a job quite yet, but that he is living within the mystery of all of it, which the talk was on mystery, and those were the words he exactly said. And he doesn't know what I'm writing this talk about. And he said, I'm living within the mystery of all of it, and miracles have taken place because he's not buying into the fear of not having a job. He is really relying on this spiritual connection and faith that all things are possible within the kingdom of heaven within us, or the consciousness of heaven within us. And I want to preface, obviously, this person is putting out, applications everywhere and putting the feet underneath the prayer. But living in the expanded awareness that something bigger is at hand. This is a person that's married, that has small kids, that has a mortgage. All those things that can make a time between jobs very scary. And you have that kind of faith to live within the mystery of this moment, because not running to a job that's going to be a nightmare, but staying fully awake from that ethereal place, from a bigger place than this human limited consciousness, to the expanded awareness that something bigger is at hand for something to break through in a miraculous way in his life. And I felt his truth, and I felt him answering the call of this time. So he knows. He's a Unity person. He's a Unity student. He's a big Edgar Cayce student as well. He knows that the source and the supply of everything comes from the universe. When we really, really get that the source and the supply of everything that comes to us is from the universe, from God, from that indwelling highest consciousness, this reminds us to go into the silence. This reminds us to walk in nature and observe the wildlife that crosses your path and look up what the totem is. The Spirit's trying to speak to you and share with you that is being called for your life right now. I love to look at the signs and the symbols of the universe guiding and directing every aspect, noticing numbers that are appearing on the clock, noticing messages that are coming from friends. It is always something is being shown us, and we have to get in this metaphysical way of looking at life, that we are ordained to live from the brilliance of the mystery and to not be afraid of it, but to be in the spaciousness enough to allow it to take hold of us. So that means not pushing up against these trials, but walking through them and knowing Spirit will be with you. Spirit will speak through you. I always say that before I come on to do a talk. I say, Spirit, all right, I wrote the talk. Now speak through me. And sometimes the talk is exactly what I wrote, and sometimes it doesn't even come together at all as that talk. Because I'm putting the feet underneath my prayers, but the universe might have something else in store, and it's always something better. That's another thing, is you can't wait to see the good that's going to happen from even the difficult stuff. That's a great affirmation. I can't wait to see the good that's going to happen from this situation, instead of like, oh, here we go. This is looking a lot like a bad thing that happened to me before, and now we're going to start thinking about it, and we're going to put words behind it. We're going to actually start manifesting more of those bad things that have happened, because we're going and we're getting into that small human self instead of the divinely guided, held self, right? So he let me know that in this phone call that he didn't know where his mortgage was going to come from this last month. And out of nowhere, he was expecting a check from somewhere, and I'm not going to say where it was, and it was supposed to be like $125, and he was actually needing that for another bill. And when he opened it, it was $5,000. And these things don't surprise me. I've been a prosperity teacher for over 20 years. And when people really get in that connection, and they can live in this mystery, and they can trust it and have faith in it, it's amazing what opens up. It parts the seas. And we are open and receptive to the miracle of what this life is meant to be. Right? So he let me know that recently he had a dream that he could have anything he wanted for $1. In the dream, he thought of needs of his and went into the dollar store and found the thing he needed and paid $1. In the dream, he was told not to tell anyone about this manifestation possibility. And as the dream continued, he told someone, his wife, and she told many people, and before he knew it, they were all getting what they needed for $1, and now everybody was getting the things he wanted before he got them at the dollar store. And he goes, isn't that strange? Isn't that a weird dream? So I went into my, dream interpretation stuff, and I wanted to break it down. What is that dream about? Because it's fun to look at things metaphysically, and really I more broke it down metaphysically. And this is what that dream is about. So the dollar, it equals energy, exchange, or spiritual law. The dollar represents that. The dollar could symbolize a minimal cost, the universal law of circulation. It suggests that manifestation is accessible but not free. It requires an exchange, even if it's small. It's the idea in the Bible where it says, giving, you receive. So that's what the dollar, that's what that represents. And then the store equals infinite supply. The dollar store represents the infinite storehouse of divine ideas. Whatever is needed is available, practical, simple, and abundant. You're never going to look at the dollar store the same, right? I mean, can you think of all the things you'd like to go in there and get for $1? And then secrecy versus sharing. Being told, don't tell anyone, suggests the inner knowing that manifestation requires focus, clarity, and trust. In the Bible, it says in Matthew 6:6, which says, but when you pray, go in your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. What is that about? Because it could seem like he didn't really want to share the prosperity that he was experiencing. But this is very important, and this is a piece that I talk about in my prosperity classes. When we are learning these divine ideas and we are planting them in divine mind and letting them take root in the soul of our being, when we are in the learning process, you do water it down when you try to take all of the people around you with you. Because this relationship that we have is between us and God. Us and God. And then when you've grabbed hold of this divine idea and it has become abundant in your life, then, like he says in Jeremiah, run and tell everybody. But while you're seeking to learn the power that lives within you, it's not selfish to do this with God. Have a prayer practice, meditate, give yourself 30 days to see it take off and build and grow your life in expanded ways. And then you will be the prophet that will listen to Spirit and you take it out further. And then the idea of others getting what he wanted when he shared prematurely can also represent the fear of scarcity, that there's not enough in this universe. That everything that is in our life isn't about dollars or money, but it's actually the divine supply under everything, and there's plenty. There is a limitless amount of divine supply, awake, aware, and alive within us when we can claim that and answer the call that we are here to be truly helpful. We are here to represent this God that sent us. We do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he or God or source that sent us directs us. But we can't just hold it all for ourselves. Once we really, really get this, we are the prophets to remind it in others and mirror this love and this light and this golden nugget that's within us, that you can have this too and have it abundantly, just like Jesus told all of us that we could. These works that I do and more you will do because I go to the Father, is what he says. He goes directly to the Father. So what are we supposed to do? There we go. What did you say, Laura? Do the same, right? And she just said, go directly to the Father. And the Father, we don't believe in a Father in the sky. It's an energy. Father, Mother, I would rather. Source, Spirit, all the names of God. That's language. It's an energy. We go to this divine well that's within us in silence for it to take hold and take a life and be the life in expansion. So, when I say mystic, I don't mean someone sitting in a cave on a mountaintop. A mystic is simply someone who has a direct experience of the sacred. And I know you've had those moments, maybe when you were out in nature, or when you were with a newborn baby, or you held your own newborn baby, or singing a hymn in church. Something when your heart cracked open, and you felt the divine. You felt that expanded love. I have a friend that has just started coming to this church, and he wanted to come and talk to me and tell me about a moment where he experienced being engulfed in pure love for no reason, no ritual, no big event, just an overwhelming sense of oneness. And he was always a part of a more traditional Christian church. But in this moment, he realized he had a direct connection with this energy, that there was no go-betweens, him and this universe. And that's what unity is. It's reminding you, you have a direct connection. There is no minister between you and God. There is no priest between you and God. This is a divine work between you. You are the expanded awareness. You are the one that was made in that womb that knew you and sent you with everything you needed. But unfortunately, we have to remember that because the cuts of our life talked us out of our holiness. The hurts and the shattered hearts that we've been through from breakups and loss of children and hard things in our life where we forgot that we are the very vessel of this enlightened good in expression. And when you're in a dense world like this, it's very easy to look at that. You can be very distracted from that. When ultimately, everything is to come back down, home, to your higher self, to remember more and more of this development from the many lifetimes you've lived. Mirabai Starr writes, when we make a pact with ourselves to show up for reality just as it is, no big event, just an overwhelming sense of oneness, you are living in the holy ground. This is the holy expanded ground that they refer to in the Bible. And here's an example of the hidden holiness and auspicious day that we are in for today. And I'm going to give you a little astrology report, which the open source group that's 18 to 30 are going to be doing a ritual or a ceremony where they're going to burn things away because this is a day to do that. So today, September 7th through the 9th, which is Tuesday, is one of the most powerful energetic windows of the year. And I'll tell you why. Today, we are going to have what's called the full corn moon. It's named for the time when crops reach their peak. It's a time of harvesting what you have been growing, both physical and spiritual. But this year, something rare happens. That full moon will be a total lunar eclipse, also known as the blood moon. The moon will turn a deep red as the earth casts its shadows across it. The eclipse happens in the sign of Pisces, which means that it carries heavy emotional and spiritual energy. Who's been feeling that heavy spiritual and emotional energy? Right? Yeah. So when you're an empath or an intuitive, you feel these moon cycles usually 4 to 5 days before it even lands. Because that, like I said, I can't find a sermon. I was so off that day. I mean, off. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I could not get the grounding. But Pisces energy is it's watery, it's emotional, and there were things that need to be addressed within me. So those are times when we have to slow down and go in the sun and go, what is coming up for me right now? Because all of these cycles are part of the divine. They're revealing unto us things that we can now get rid of that no longer serves us, right? So Pisces is all about dreams, intuition, endings, and spiritual cleansing. The eclipse, it's a cosmic force. Then 2 days later, which is Tuesday, we enter what's known as the 999 portal. In numerology, 9 presents completion, release, and soul's alignment. And when the triple nines appear, it marks the end of a karmic cycle and the opening of something brand new. How cool is that? And a karmic cycle, I know, this all could sound very woo-woo, but I live my life in the woo-woo, so you have to live with it. I'm very big on astrology, and numerology is who I am, and I can't be something different as a speaker. The 9 being completion of a karmic cycle. Do we know what karma means? It's memory. Edgar Cayce says it's memory. So it's karmic means there's a memory of something unhealed. And so what this is completing an unhealed memory. All right? So you're completing an unhealed memory. So this is why the open source group is going to burn something that's been a limitation or a block or something that's been in their way for the new birth, for something to come about, the dream, the thing that they want, right? So they burn that, and then they're going to write a list, and then they connect it into a crystal, and they're going to hold a crystal for the next few weeks. So that reminds them of what they're bringing into this experience and what they really, really want. And it's really exciting, and you all can do that tonight at your own houses, right? And when the triple nines appear, it marks the end of a karmic cycle and the opening of something brand new. So what does all of this mean for you? Well, the eclipse helps you to release what is weighing you down. The portal helps you to step fully into what you are becoming. So tonight's eclipse, Tuesday is the portal. On the night of the full moon, which is tonight, light a white candle. This is a time to write down that list and burn it. And then on Tuesday morning, write the birthing story. What is it that you really, really want? And this could be mind, body, and spirit. This could be healing. This could be a job. This could be a partner. This could be anything that you're wanting. But all of these things, all these seasons, they say all of the seasons are important. And this is a powerful season because we're closing out summer and we're going into the shorter days. And it's a time of introspection and growth, right? So we're allowing for the mystical to appear in the everyday currents of our lives, or through big astrological or numerological moments. That's a word. And Rumi, the great mystic poet, reminds us, try to accept the changing seasons of your heart, even if you've never felt this way before. Don't be afraid. Something inside is being born. Rumi is pointing us back to the truth that every shift, every season, even the messy ones, can be holy and are in divine order. So I wanted to take us into a short meditation to just kind of take this into our heart. And I encourage you to consider lighting a white candle tonight, keeping it going for 48 hours, and then you're going to have that crystal. We've got crystals in the store. We've got sage. It would be a good time to burn sage around you, to burn off the things that are no longer needed on an energetic level. And then on Tuesday, hold that crystal and breathe that life of what you're really wanting in your life. So let's get some music going. And we're just going to take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Allow your body to soften into the seat beneath you. Feel supported, grounded, and safe. As you breathe, imagine yourself standing where Jeremiah once stood, hearing Spirit whisper, "Before I formed you, I knew you. I set you apart." Feel those words not as ancient history, but as living truth, spoken directly to you right now. With your next breath, bring to mind an ordinary moment from your week. Making coffee, greeting a friend, driving in traffic, and see it, feel it. And notice that even in those small moments, it's holy. It all comes from what our intention and our attention is upon everything and everything we do. Because love is here. You are here. Rumi once said, there are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. For a moment, let your heart kneel. Whisper inwardly, my life is sacred. Even an ordinary moment shimmers with God's presence. Let's take another breath in here. Now with a allow love, the love that created you, the love that you are, flow gently through every cell of your being. And now let's become conduits of love for others and extend that love outward to the person beside you, to our community gathered here, to the world beyond these walls. See it flowing like light, connecting us all in spirit's great web. In the stillness of our heart right here, let's affirm these words. I am holy ground. My life is holy ground. Our community is holy ground. And take one final breath of gratitude. And when you're ready, gently return to the room, carrying this truth with you. I wanted to give you this little example. I've never really done something like this, but it was really funny. We need the lights to turn on. Because this is a gift that was given to my husband last April. And it had succulents that were teeny tiny on the bottom. And I've been watering it as I was supposed to. But it's grown so much that it's smushed to the top of this vessel, right? And every time I walk by it, I feel this sense like I can't breathe. And it's a beautiful example of how we are mystics. We're connected to every living thing. And I want to point out the limitation of the human that came up with this concept, that you put a plant in here that didn't recognize it would overgrow this moment. And it's kind of like this eclipse. We're breaking this shell so we can move out further in consciousness, mind, body, and spirit. So today, after the service, Mike will be taking this out front and breaking it. And I'm going to replant it for all of us to become the expanded awareness that we're being called to do and be. We'll take an offering for unity now.
Consciousness.
We'd like to welcome back Teresa Storch back to the stage. She has a table out front with plenty of merch to check out in the lobby. Definitely check that out. And Satisha wasn't kidding. I really am going to crack this thing open right now. I'm excited.
Be free, little plant. Be free. I love it. I wrote this during the pandemic when I was feeling darkness and wanting a shift. And so it still applies. I feel it's definitely a song that keeps giving to me. So When I was 12, I tried to play the saxophone. I thought I'd never stop it squeaking. I moaned and groaned. Then I got inspired to learn all the skills I honed. Now music is the best thing I've ever known. 'Cause things will get better. All that it takes is believing is the first step to seeing it all the way. Things will get better. More that you bet that things will get better. The better it gets. Ooh, yeah. When you were born, you arrived too soon. I saw a tiny baby, but I wasn't fooled. Inside my heart and mind was a full-grown you. I knew the big, strong man you grow into. 'Cause things will get better. All that it takes is believing it's the first step to seeing it all the way. Things will get better. The more that you bet, the things will get better. The better it gets. Yeah. The better it gets. From my clear vision comes a new big love. And out of my heart can come everything I've dreamed of. And if I use my mind, I find how much we can rise above. Now we're coming out of the darkest years yet, full of sickness and sadness and violence. Looking back through time, we see how far we've progressed. Humankind can overcome the worst of itself. Things will get better. All that it takes is believing it's the first step to seeing it all the way. Things will get better. All that it takes is believing it's the first step to seeing it all the way. Things will get better. The more that you bet, things will get better. The better it gets. Yeah. You guys want to clap with me? Things will get better. Believing is the first step. You can sing it too. Things will get better. Believing is the first step. Keep going, that's awesome. Things will get better. Believing is the first step. Things will get better. Believing is the first step. Things will get better. Believing is the first step. You guys are awesome. Get better. Believing is the first step. Believing is the first step. Woo! Nice.
We've missed your music. It was awesome to have you back. Thanks for being here. It was great. Thank you. Good to see you. All right, we have prayer partners available to you if you're facing a challenge today, and they will stand up. If you would like to sit with one of them, you just stay seated in the sanctuary, and they will come and find you and take you to our meditation room downstairs and pray with you down there. I have a discussion group that meets after the service back here where we just kind of speak about the talk or something that's on our heart, and we usually meet for about a half an hour, so you're welcome to join us. That will happen about 5 minutes after the service. And we will close with Let There Be Peace on Earth. Here we go. Standing up, here we go.